Alright, welcome back to the Go RGN Summer's End Tournament. Steel alongside me, and I am Laserjesus. And we got Mythic versus Xile, the second map of the first best of three. If Mythic wins this first best of three, it is all over, and if Xile wins this next map, they're going to move on to the second best of three. So here we go, for Xile, we are here on Season, and Xile is going for a 2-3B split, 2 up top and 3 below. I'm not sure how much Mythic knows. It looks like Xile has been staying very silent so far, as only one member is rotated for Mythic, and 2 of the members are still in A. But now here, finally, Exile's coming into the bomb site. They do trade out one, basically done by Rush so far. AGM and Mark both fall to Rush, even though Mythic got that first round, or first kill, excuse me. And now this leaves it in a very tough situation for the remaining 3 Mythic members, Lex, Floki, and Abe. So here they come, 2 out the prison, 1 out of the lower CT entrance into the site. Xile has members spread out all over in the bomb site. Oh, Mythic gets 1 though. There's Floki. Rush still battling. That's 3 for Rush so far. 2 for Floki as he's making it happen. 4's in. Oh, that's 4 for Loki. And there's only 1 player up. It's automatic. Can he take down the bomber? And he gets both of them. That is so huge. Automatic. That's his second 1 versus 2. And he couldn't ask for 2 bigger rounds to clutch. Pistol round and the round that almost put Mythic away in that first map.
Like, great opener by Xile there, just doing like a 5-man B walk explode. And B site is so hard to retake as counter-terrorists, especially with USBs against blocks at those close quarters. You're coming through 2 tiny choke points, like 2x4 doorways. It's impossible to retake, so Xile getting a really good positioning there early on in the round and the bomb plant. And
what do you think Mythic did wrong there? I mean, as a CT, do you peek? I mean, obviously this is more of a source map and everything, so we got a lot of experience in that. So on the CT pistol, if you do not peek at all, you give the terrorists pretty much full access to burst out of upper.
Yeah, I mean, if you took like an angle from the stairs, or get a person pushed up upper, or you just have nades ready or smokes ready, you need some sort of advanced information. I mean, even with 3 players there, you just need to hit the most ridiculous headshots if you're just hiding in the site. So having some sort of advanced information or like early warning, like a tornado siren or something to let you know, hey, throw your stuff. Like, they need some sort of system that works.
Yeah, because if you don't, well, that's what happens. You just have too many terrorists pouring in, and this isn't going to work. But this round, so far, going well on the anti-eco for Xile. They got, I don't know, actually, they do take the B-bomb site. However, the bomb is way over at A, so it looks like, I really don't like what Xile did there. They try to take towards A with the bomb early without having any of their B players peek. So they do lose 2 of their rifles. Actually, I think 1 had a Mag-10, so that's not too bad. But Mythic, in the 2-on-3 here, they do lose a player trying to rotate in. Took a little too long, for my taste, for both teams to come into the B-bomb site. So now AGM kind of on the flank here. Probably going to get dropped by Slemmy right away. There it is. So 2 up for Xile. 2 guns dropped for Mythic. Not too bad for Xile. So on this next one, it's going to be another save for Mythic. And even though their eco round worked out decently for Mythic, I really don't like how default they played that.
Yeah, I mean, Xile, I don't think Exile's too strong on their anti-ecos from what I've seen. MSQ and 1 other person died early on, but Rush was able to like walk into the B bomb site and get full control of that somehow.
Yeah, that was that was definitely weird. So again, we see, oh my God, Xile, they fall. Valens falls early, and Rush is the only player here at B, and he meets Mark, who drops him down to 34, and nobody's biting for Mythic, and oh my God, Floki picks up the fallen terrorist AK and takes down Rush. And Mythic has a 2-man stack inside of the upper A. So even if Xile kills 1 at upper, this will leave the other teammate for Mythic in a great position to pick up some frag. So this is Exile's round to lose at this point. They are going to go for the bomb plant. Oh, Abe peeks out, and his other member is going to peek. Oh, Abe doesn't even need the other member to peek, but Lex does. He goes down. So still Mythic not done yet. Xile firing back in this 2 versus 2. Both of the Mythic players are so low. And they do have a convergence going on here. 1 of the members is sneaking out of CT spawn. They don't see him, down to a 1 versus 1. Oh, and Xile retains the lead at 3-0. And MSQ takes down AGM. And that was a very tricky end round scenario at the end there with the CT lurking through the smoke.
And Mythic doing a great job getting the player advantage and kind of funneling Xile to force it up cat. But Xile making a great decision to just smoke off CT spawn, not contest upper. Just go, smoke CT spawn off, plant the bomb, and let basically the Mythic members peek. And the Mythic members were peeking from upper A too early because the rest of their teammates weren't ready to converge on the bomb site together. Had they waited a few more seconds, they might have had a slightly better chance. Not like a guarantee that they're going to win the round or anything, but like a better chance at retaking the bomb site. But we are just going to go into the first gun round. It looks like Exile's doing a nice upper AWA.
And this really could go either way at this point. Oh my god, they get the first player, but Mythic doubled up on it. And that sealed the deal for them. But MSQ firing from the vents though, so get one member elsewhere. But what Mythic did there really caught Xile off guard, because usually there's only one player watching upper. And the fact that he had some backup there really worked out for them, as the Xile players pulled nades when they tried to take towards him. So nicely done by the upper player. And now Xile, MSQ down to 5 HP, Slemmy at full, so look for Slemmy to take the lead here as he's making his way into the CT spawn. Gonna see Lex. Oh, Lex gets the frag onto Slemmy, and that's gonna make it so tough for MSQ here. Probably just try to drop a couple guns from Mythic. I mean, winning the round is gonna be very difficult for her at this point. But little to no point in saving it either. She goes for Lex, and she is taken down. So first round for Mythic, but this is another very dangerous round for Mythic, because if they don't lose this one, you need to start establishing momentum on that CT side and build up some cash reserve. Otherwise, it's going to be super hard.
Yeah, I actually think it wouldn't have been too bad of an idea to actually have MSQ save her gun, and then the rest of them just force buy weapons and try to do some sort of scrimmy tactic. I think what the major problem with that round was that Abe kind of surprised the other two Xile members. Like, they pulled out their knives and started jumping around instead of just expecting a second player there. And on this map, counter-terrorists really want to double up cat or double up upper together. They never want to play 1-1. Just like Dust 2, you don't want to play one cat, one long. So I think it was a bit of a mistake by Xile not to expect a second member there, and that's what the basically biggest fault was in that round.
Yeah, we have a lot of source players for Xile too, so definitely should have saw that coming, and that Dust 2 analogy spot on for Season. But now Xile on this eco round, trying to take up middle. They do make their way into prison, but down to a 1 versus 2 here. Actually, Exile's got a lot of gun rounds, or a lot of guns down, so not a bad eco at all, even though they didn't get the bomb down.
Not a bad job at all. I mean, Exile's money looks just to be about on par with Mythic's, and that's all coming down to basically what happened the rounds before. I mean, Mythic never really able to build up an economy. That's why, I mean, last round, if Xile were to have just 4 spot there with armor, they might have won the round if MSQ had saved her AK. It's just one of those things where, you get $0 for saving, but it's better than, you know, I'd rather have AK armor, which is worth $3,700 than the $1,400 I'm gonna get for losing the round. I mean, she had 5 health as well, so that's all in the past, though. We are gonna see a new round by Xile. It looks like Rush is doing most of the work for their team.
Yeah, definitely a player to watch, as you said earlier. But now Mythic has been down to player, and I like how they're doubling up vents here, or no, not doubling up, but Lex was trying to hold that with that AWP, and now they're going to be doubling up middle. So where does Xile try to go? The smokes have dissipated, and they're still trying to cross out middle, and they do lose a player there. So all evened up here in terms of the player count, and it's going to be a 3-man burst out of upper, and they have the bomb alone at catwalk. So if this upper rush fails, it's going to be super tough for the bomb carrier to come out of catwalk here. Who's the upper player? It's Abe, and he gets taken down without taking down anybody. And Rush finds another one as well. So how did Mythic screw that up so badly? Abe, I'm not sure if he had his knife out or what, but just failed that miserably and probably lost the round for his team if Mark and Lex decide to go for this. So what do? They're just going to go ahead and save their end. I'm not sure what went wrong for Mythic there. They just lost the initial pick to Rush. And did you catch what Abe was doing there?
I didn't catch what Abe was doing, but I saw AGM going down in the bomb site, and maybe they would have had a little bit more success if they had actually doubled up in upper, perhaps, or if they had tried to like walk push into upper together and just try to lock that down like they had on one of their eco rounds. Because if they're able to lock down upper control together, then and Xile ends up taking the bomb site. I mean, Exile's still forced to being playing on Cat and the bomb site, and it's easier for Mythic to do a retake. So a little bit of misplay, not only by Abe himself as an individual, but perhaps as more of a unit, more of a team mistake.
Yeah, I can definitely see the argument for that. And just the last round, what really worked out for them, or I'm not sure if it was the round prior, but doubling up, the round that they didn't, they lose it. So now, still no AKs at all for Xile, so interesting for that. Usually you see one at middle at least trying to contest, but maybe they don't want to do anything with Lex. But Xile here spread out across the map, stacked towards B a little bit, so just making sure Mythic doesn't do any sort of any pushing, but Mythic has pushed in the upper A, double stacking that. So it is going to be a mid to B, or at least looks to be at this point. Who's going to win this Vents battle? It does go to Mythic, and Lex finds Slemmy at middle as well, so no op for Xile, and Lex is able to take down Slemmy, who was going to take the fight with an AK, and Lex obviously won that. So getting picked apart so far is Xile. Their default or their slow work just hasn't been working out so far. If Mask can get this kill, it might turn things around, but Lex is going to fall back and just forfeit the position and watch the prison. So Mythic really doing work against Xile this round. All of the opening frags going in their favor, but Rush, it takes the bomb site by himself. Hold this AK for a moment as I take the bomb. And he's going to be left in this 1 versus 2. I believe this will be a 4 kill if he can win this. Does have a little HP to work with. Lex is so low. He gets Lex down to a 1 versus 1. Abe trying to find the kill. Lurking around the smoke. Can Lex? Oh, and he gets it. Abe with the headshot under Rush. If Rush could have done that, that would have been massive. But not enough, and Mythic claims the third round, but a ton of economic damage done. And look at the team's money, just so low, or so even in comparison.
Yeah, actually, we're going to see Xile with a better economy this round than Mythic. And if they're able to pick up this round, I mean, Mythic's going to be in a very hurting position for the next several rounds as they do some eco rounds. So Xile,
yeah, they can barely buy.
Yeah, Xile, like, if Exile's able to pick up this round, and it's going to be picked up by huge individual plays, Rush needs to make a play somewhere. And I think that's what they should focus on as well. I mean, Season's a map where individual plays thrive. So if Xile is able to make these individual plays and open up the site, make it a like 4-on-4 even, or 3-on-3, their individual players and the individual aim is going to do a lot better than Mythic's more, I guess, team-based style.
Yeah, I can definitely see the argument for that, and that's what we were talking about earlier. Rush, Automatic, Slemmy, not discrediting MSQ or Valens, but those three can definitely just take the round and run with it. So Xile here has a big opportunity, and I'm not sure if this is as CT-sided of a map as it was in the previous iteration of the game, but still, CT side, you have to come out on top, and that cannot be understated. But this round, Xile coming out strong out of Catwalk. They got 3 players making their way up, and Mythic playing this so passively, doubling up on top of the upper A and having one in the CT area as well, but still Xile just pushing through. Rush again coming out of upper, just dominating. What can they do to stop this man? Look at this man score at this point. 16? Is that more than the entire team combined? Oh my god, this guy's calf must be sore at this point, just carrying his team. And for Mythic, they have in 2 rounds at this point where Rush has confronted 2 of their players and just took out both of them. So if Rush keeps this up, we're going to see a 4-0 from Xile. And again, Mythic is going to have to save. And man, what does Mythic have to do at this point?
Are you listening to this inner team turmoil? No,
Yes.
I'm just listening to this inner team turmoil at the moment, and I was just trying to focus on that without speaking over them. And I think it's funny. I think Xile was. I think MSQ was whining about what Lex was doing, even though that they won the round. But Lex and Mark saving their weapons is basically the only thing that's going to keep them. Give them the opportunity to win this round. They're going to have to make massive plays with this. Lex needs to take that up and like solo B and just lock it down. Well, they stack 4 people A, or he goes into opening dungeon or something at upper A. He can't play default though with that up. He needs to move around with that. It looks like he's going to go for an actual cat push, maybe even pushing into the door afterwards if he doesn't see anyone. So that's a great way to kind of open up the round. But looks like he's not going to see anyone and opt to rotate straight to B.
Man, and Floki gets taken out. He tries to gain some information by peeking the upper. but instead he meets 3 AKs in his face. And Lex has a good chance here. Takes down Rush, gets the first one, needs to get another one immediately. His teammates in a firefight lose it to MSQ. And oh man, Lex goes down as well. So this round's obviously lost already.
Yeah.
So what I like what you said. I mean, Lex, at this point, if Rush is getting multi-frags wherever he goes, if Mythic doesn't, I mean, they need to send Lex around and just try to get that early frag, fall back or something like that, because they obviously can't hold the sights with Rush playing as well as he is.
Yeah, the best way to counter the terrorist scrimming strats is to kind of counter scrim. So if Lex was sitting there in dungeon with an op scoped on the Exile's walk push, he would have gotten a kill, fallen back to the horseshoe area, gotten another kill, waited for, Floki to help him. So, I mean, doing that is going to be a lot more beneficial than kind of like walking up cat, seeing no one, and then rotating around to B through middle.
Oh man, we see a massive stampede of counter-terrorism coming in to upper A, but then they just rotate right back. They see a couple terrorists then flee for their lives. So they do take down Rush very low, down to 9 HP, and I mean, might as well count that as a kill at this point, the way Rush has been playing. So now Exile, they have worked their way all the way up in the middle, but Lex takes down Slemmy, traded off. So I'd count that in the terrorists' favor, as they can envelop the A bomb site if they so choose. And there's automatic onto Floki, catching the rotate. And it looks like Exile's going to walk away with this round, only suffering 1 loss, as there's only 1 player in the bomb site, and it's Margaladon. If nobody checks this could be huge! He takes down 1, can't get the second though. And Exile 7-3 on the terrorist side. And do you think this is as CT-sided as it was in Source?
I don't think so. I think in Source, I don't know why. I think ops are just a lot more powerful, and the smokes were a lot less powerful. So it made CT sides a lot stronger. Terrorists weren't able to. I don't know. I feel like CT sides, you could run 2 up setups in Source, but in this map,
1 middle, 1 upper.
In this game, or 1A, 1B type of thing. And the terrorist smokes wouldn't be able to completely lock them down nearly as much as the smokes in this game lock them down.
Alright, but let's get into this round. Exile, they are down 1 player in this 3 versus 2, but they have gained access to the bomb site. Need to get that bomb down right now if they want to have a good chance of winning this round. Get that post-plant setup going and Rush. Oh my god, he's going for a very tricky smoke. He flashes through CT. Oh my god, and Mark somehow gets it. Rush failed miserably and leaves it all on the dainty shoulders of MSQ. Can she do this? No, she cannot, as Mark just peeks the corner and sees her head. And that is going to be that. Mythic wins their first round in a long time. But this is another dangerous point for them, because if they want to really have a chance at this map, they need to take this little momentum they have and run with it, because otherwise they're just going to be saving out the rest of this half.
Yeah, absolutely. And Exile actually built the economy to buy up again in this round, so this next round basically is... I think Exile could force buy next round even if they lose this round, but Mythic cannot afford that. They will be on eco, so Mythic really needs to win this round if they want to be able to win this half. And Exile is still in a very favorable position so far. Full AK buy, full nades.
And if Exile's CT side plays has any similarities to their CT side of Cash, it's going to be real tough for Mythic, who did not look hot on Terror's side at all. So, will Mythic be able to keep this going? They do trade frags here at the middle area. And what does Exile do here? They have to worry about AGM, who's peeking out from the middle here. And they fall back, and they're going to go towards the B side, it looks like. So I'm not sure if AGM spotted any of them going back towards B. But Exile does have 1 player coming out of the door. And if he is able to retain 2 of the players in A for Mythic by throwing a little bit of a fake, it's going to be a 3-on-2 eventually when Exile takes in B bomb site. So, when's that fake coming in from the catwalk? Do they spot anybody? Here comes the catwalk fake. Does it draw the prison player from B? Doesn't look like he's going to bite, and it's going to be a 3-on-2 inside the bomb site. And I really like the CT setup here, but Rush peeks out and takes down the upper player just like that, and Slemmy is able to get the trade from his teammate Valens, and man, you cannot say enough about Rush at this point. That peek into upper, I mean, I'm not sure, I didn't have my eyes on him, but he probably pre-aimed that or something, because there's so many angles you have to worry about when you're coming into the bomb site, and he somehow peeks the perfect angle. So, nicely done by him, but that rotate is on. Mythic. 2 versus 2 here. Exile's rush is still up. Slemmy playing from on top of the upper, and he's able to take down Floki and Rush. Gonna get this frag easily onto Abe. And now look at Mythic's money. Wah, wah, wah. Just another save coming in, and this is, I'm looking at a 10-5.
Yeah, I think like both teams had the right idea there. MSQ faking A, just keeping pressure there, just like making enough noise for Mythic to keep 2 people there, but Mythic also playing just 2-2, having 2 people at B. I think the only thing they could have done differently there is maybe been a little bit more pushed up on B, had a little bit more map control there. Otherwise, both teams played it exactly the way they should have in those rounds, and it just came down to individual plays, which Rush.
Rush. So there, Mythic goes for an early B rush here with their CZs in hand, and it doesn't work out for them as Slemmy was able to withhold the barrage of the CZs. So deadly. I'm still not sure if I like that gun or not, but Slemmy does walk away with the advantage there, and ooh, Lex onto Rush, so that's a big frag down, and which leaves it down to a 3-on-2 here as Automatic takes down Rush, but Mythic, they do have 1 member in each bomb site here, and if Floki, he does have an AK, and he does have time to position himself to hold off this take, so we'll see where he elects to go. I don't like this position so far, but looks like the terrorists are going to fall back and go towards A. And wow, how did A screw that up? And is not happy with his performance there. And now this probably leaves Floki in a position to just save this. So, yeah, it's going to be another round for Xile at 9-4. And Mythic going to be able to buy this next one. I'm not sure if they're... It looks like they will have money to at least get 1 op for Lex. But man... Is this going to be an Xile 4-0?
Well, it's looking like a 2-0 for now. We'll see what happens in the second series if we're able to kind of move this momentum forward, but everything obviously resets with the exception of the mentality once it hits that. But I like what Valens is doing here. He's just kind of walk chasing, making sure that you can take the gun away from Flowsick, make sure that Flowsick can't save that weapon, especially considering he's got a CZ and armor. You can drop that CZ to someone who might not be too economically inclined, capable,
Equivocable.
Sure. Words,
whatever works, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I gotta ask you one thing.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not questioning our decision making here at Go RGN TV, but like the back-to-back best of 3s. I mean, you think it should just be 1 best of 3 even though a team comes from the lower bracket, or do you think it's well earned for the upper bracket team?
3 different ways you can do it: best of 3, 1 map advantage; best of 5, 1 map advantage; or 2 best of 3s. So,
and your preference?
I think best of 5, 1 map advantage is pretty cool because that way you play like you never replay maps. I think when you do 2 best of 3s, like there's the potential to replay maps, and that gets a little funky. Yeah. Just because like it gives teams a second chance to come back on that same map. So it's a bit weird. I think best of 5s, 1 map advantage are definitely something that's fun because you have at least 2 to 3 maps, but you don't have to play like 18 maps,
Yeah, and still gives the upper bracket team a significant advantage and everything. So let's get back to the action in this round. It looks like Xile, again, very similar to a lot of the previous rounds, is able to get that early advantage. I'm not sure what happened for Mythic there. They just kind of got rolled over at middle, and now it's down to Abe. And at this point, I mean, definitely, you could save that op for Lex and everything, and there's no point in going for any frag onto Xile because they are going to be able to full buy regardless. And I'm really worried for Mythic here because CT side, debatable if it's as strong of a side as it was in Source, but what I'm looking at for Xile is they just dominated Mythic on their last CT side versus Mythic's terrorist side. So yeah. I'm looking at 2-0 for this first best of 3.
I think right here, Mythic with this op can still bring it back. They need to do something non-standard. They need to put the let's say A upper dungeon, walk to that Xile, 3-4 man walk push, and then just stack 3 players at B with CZs this round. Like buy armor CZ or something right here, and then what's the money bonus at right now? I don't even know what the money bonus is at, but If they're able to afford next round, they should. Oh, they're buying up here. Look at that. I think they need to take some sort of like gamble stack, put the op in a crucial position where they can just lock down a certain area and then stack 3 members at another bomb site. They're playing 2 standard right now.
Yeah, I'd even like them. They have played 2 middle at some times, but they haven't really pushed up aggressively. I'm not sure if they don't like that. I mean, you can get a member into vents. Just even shooting it out just gives the terrorists so much to think about. But we haven't really seen that. But Mythic's standard setups have only granted them 4 rounds coming in to the second half here, unless they can win this last one. But it's really going to be down to how well Xile can play this on their CT side. And MSQ, man, that sucks for Mythic. They go for something a little wonky, a little crazy, and they push down 2 into the upper A, and MSQ just pulls the trigger. There goes 2 of their heads. And I don't know if you can hear what we can hear, but Mythic is not too happy about what's been going on. One player in specific. But AGM and Marcolodon, no point in saving here. It's do or die. Looks like Mark is going to get flanked here by MSQ, and that is an 11-4. I mean, Xile hasn't not dominated 1 half yet.
I think I was miscalculating the money or miscalculating the rounds. I thought that was the second last round for some whatever reason, but it was like
I wasn't going to question you.
Yeah, what I still wanted to see there is, again, Xile did the 3-man upper lock. Had they had an op there just staring down the stairs, easy opening kill. The rest of the Xile members start on your footing, they hear it, lock it down with a smoke, throw a couple of grenades in there. They've just held off that push. But instead, they're there with rifles, and then they do that stack, and then they just get, you know, even if it's a 1-for-1 trade, it's still Exile's favor. If they go 2 for 2 there, for example, getting into the bomb site, and then it just puts so much pressure on the 3rd member that's there, the rotator, to kind of multi-frag from this kind of out in the open position. They need to kind of take more map control and kind of like lock down that upper dungeon part, get upper B control where they've maintained control of the entire B lobby as opposed to hiding back on like waiting for them to come up a ladder type of thing, you know? It looks like Mythic's just gonna do a mirror of what happened CT side pistol round where they're just gonna do a B rush.
Yeah, I'm sorry for all of those of you that love our intro, but Steel just stuffed that shit, and we are going to be running straight into the second half pistol round. And Mythic, again, mirroring kind of what Xile did, but just with a whole lot more momentum, just going in right away instead of waiting. And Xile still trying to fire back the rotate. They've narrowed it down enough where the rotate is not as difficult because it's so chaotic at this point. And Mythic is only down to 2 players. AGM needs to go ham here from the lower, and he gets 1. But is it enough? Rush is going to take it down his teammate Floki if he could just find the angle. And there it is. He does. AGM trying to ring around the Rosie, and Rush gets the second one. And man, these pistol rounds from Xile, just in the chaos, they find those headshots.
Sorry for ruining your intro there, folks. Just kidding.
I don't mind. I'm sure J-Roz he was waiting for it, but too bad.
All apologies.
All right. So, and now Mythic gonna go with a 5-man pay train. Oh, did Xile hear them? They all went silent as a unit. And I mean, I haven't seen the movie Fury yet, but I think what Mythic's doing is a good representation of what that movie's about. If that makes any sense at all. But they're going to be pouring into the bomb site here from Upper Slemmy, though. Gets the 2 headshots, and no bomb plant will be allowed here. Marcolodon going with the 4-1 bait setup. Doesn't get anything going. And Xile. And did Mythic even get the bomb down there? I'm not sure. It doesn't look like they did. Man, they can't even force here.
I don't know what Fury's about, but if it's about 5 dudes getting slaughtered without having any chance at all, then yeah, that's a lot like Jerry.
I haven't seen it either. I mean, me and my girlfriend were gonna go. She's a veteran and everything. We're gonna go to a free movie, and they said the only movie she could see for free was Fury, and then we just went to Interstellar. Haha. All right, so now Mythic is gonna force up anyways, even though they didn't get the bomb down. So we're not seeing AKs across the board. We see Galils for 3. And Lex loses the scout battle to automatic without wounding him at all. So this makes it very difficult for Mythic here at this point. They're still trying to make this Mythic control happen, but Exile's having no Just none of that. An automatic, that is 3 scout kills. I'm not sure if it was 3 headshots, but man, might as well be an automatic scout at that point. Just dropping them left to right with the headshots. I really like how how powerful the scout is in this game. I mean, I loved it in Source and everything, but this game, it just makes me smile. It looks like it's going to be Abe. A whole lot of work to do if he wants to win this round. The bomb is on Cat, and there's 2 Exile players coming up the upper A. And that is going to be that for that round. And since Mythic lost their Gambit, I mean, I might as well just force out at this point, go for some CZs. What would you do? Would you try to save for the tie?
I'd go for the tie at this point. Just make sure. Ooh, they're not going to. I'd say for
the
tie at this
Deagle
point, and then just try to play perfect CS from then on. But yeah, I mean the scout is pretty powerful. In Source was pretty powerful too. The only difference was that you couldn't do the jump shots, but it's just part of the meta in this game because it's cheaper, $1,700 as opposed to whatever it was in Source. Was it like what, 2,000?
27.
Was it 2,700 in Source? Yeah.
I believe so. I'm not 100, but I bought that gun a lot.
So that's why it's just so cheap. That's why it's so good.
Yeah, and what do you think of the meta? Because even if you lose the round, we see so many teams just buy up the scout right away. I mean, from your perspective, is that worth it?
It depends on the map. It's all situational. Depends on the setups that you're gonna run with it. But absolutely, like sometimes it is completely warranted. But we are gonna see Mythic trying to break their way out into A, and well, I was about to transition into that. It looks like they've lost their opportunity to actually win that round.
Yeah,
so we can just keep talking about the scout.
Yeah, I mean, the scout at this point, not only can you make it look super cool, but that's 1,700 plus the ability to jump. And in this game, like the Source, I mean, you kind of feel like you're sliding around on butter at points when you're trying to stop and stuff. But in this game, that stop is instant, and you can just drop people with the scout.
Yeah. But it's also like, you can use it on either half. Like, you can use it even if you win the round. For example, you win pistol round, you buy a scout. Because a scout, it's still relevant if the enemy team force buys on third round, for example, or even if they force buy second round, because it still does so much damage. You still have a scope on it, so you can take massive map control. But even if the enemy team's on eco, it's a one-hit kill if you shoot them in the chest sometimes. So it's just like, it's such a versatile weapon in this game just because of the cost that it makes sense for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and not counting eco rounds, when you can just transition to the mini AK as Sprawl calls it, it's just devastating, the CZ with that combo. But we are on to the last round for Mythic if they lose this. So they do get an op in the hands of Lex, and this is the time to play that perfect Counter-Strike. However, Automatic draws first blood with that AWP. Lex yet to get his going. So already one player down, and Exile trying to cross the middle here. And now there's going to be 3 players for Exile at A when Mythic is trying to take in. Automatic, gets one, but Lex trades his teammate off. So still not out of this is Mythic. They have 3 players, 2 Exiles, 3, and only 1 player in the bomb site. Wow, Automatic gets another one. AGM tries to take down Automatic, but he loses his life instead, and it's down to a 2 versus 2. We got a big battle going on in Cat. Down to a 1 versus 1. Lex misses the shot, and Valence is forced to peek. Lex is whiffing left and right. Knows. Oh, but he gets the nasty headshot and nearly burns to death. If he took one more tick of that molly damage, he would have lost his op. But Mythic, this is, I mean, we always talk about hills they have to climb, and I'm not even sure this is a hill at this point.
It's a mountain. This is the Everest.
And man, I don't want to make the pun, but maybe they can climb the summit?
Huh.
Bad. Alright,